allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. We'll begin by reviewing the draft minutes of the previous meeting held on June 17th, 2024. Just like to direct your attention to page 2, line number 11, first sentence. Planning board, the zoning board, review the chart for setbacks submitted with the application. So with that one correction, I make a motion to approve draft minutes. Would a member second? I'll second. Thanks, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Approved with that one amendment. We'll review the agenda as posted on the town website. For the Town of Brunswick Zoning Board of Appeals, regular meeting, July 15, 2024. We'll begin with Murphy area variances at 15 Bellevue Road, followed by new business, a sign variance for 740 Hoosick. The first item of business on the agenda would be to open the public hearing. So I ask the applicant to come up, if we kind of give us a brief overview of the project and if there's been any changes since we last met in June.
No changes, requesting 2 setbacks, one with the front setback, front rear setback, and then the back setback. Nothing changed since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
So the zoning board will open a public hearing. We'll note that the public hearing posting is published in the Eastwood Press, placed on town sign board, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet of the project site. Press, would you kindly read the notice, please?
Certainly. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as may be heard on Monday, July 15, 2024 at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180. Concerning the application submitted by John Murphy for 2 area variances in connection with the construction of a pool on property located at 15 Bellevue Road. The application requests 2 area variances, including 1 front setback variance and 1 rear setback variance. Copies of the application are available with Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you very much. So if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against the application? Mike, I'll ask you a question. Did the building department receive any written comments on this application? No. Thank you, Mike. Are there any questions from the zoning board members?
No.
Mr. Murphy? So hearing no public comment, I would make a motion to close the public hearing portion of this application. Would a member second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Daryl. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. The zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act upon the application. We'll note that it is type 2 residential application under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, so no further secret determination is required. Also note that the Rensselaer County Economic Development, Bureau of Economic Development and Planning have noted that the proposal does not have a major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. We'll look at our 5 standard elements. The zoning board is asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, nor detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variances. I'll just begin by saying the placement of an above-ground pool 12 feet by 24 feet within the required rear and front setbacks will not produce an undesirable change to the character of the applicant's neighborhood, as pools such as what is being proposed are standard in the residential setting. And the board is asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variances.
Well, as is stated in the application, this leach field takes up a big portion of the area of this back lawn, and then the topography of the back lawn, so that's really the only place that he could locate it.
Thank you. We're asked to describe whether the requested area variances are substantial. We'll note for the front setback on Bellevue Road, what is required is 60 feet, what's being proposed is 10. And the rear setback, what is required is 12, what's being proposed is 5.
I would say because of the lot and restricted because of his, two restrictions of the setbacks for his front setback. So basically, given that, it's substantial, but the only place you could put it is in the back and acceptable.
Yeah, thank you. The zoning board is asked to explain how the proposed area variances will not have adverse effects on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Again, as we were saying, the relief would allow the installation of the above-ground pool, and there would be no impact to the environmental conditions of the neighborhood, such as noise, dust, or any sort of runoff of water. And then lastly, we're asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created, noting that the consideration is relevant but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variances.
So the applicant's identified that there really is no other place on the property to put the pool. Because of the location of the septic and the leach field.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl. If there's no other further deliberation, we'll consider the balance between the benefit to the applicant is weighed against any detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular, whether or not the zoning board will determine to grant requested area variances.
Make a motion to grant. I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks, and just continue the work that you're doing with our building department going forward. And best of luck, hope it goes well for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You gotta get going, it's gonna be in the 90s this week.
Okay, next we have new business. Mr. Paul Engster would like to propose to us the sign variance at 740 Crescent. And we just want to note that we have an updated sheet in front of us where the allowable square foot is 35 foot for a sign. What's being proposed is 167.3. And also with the change, switching from it's going to be a 10 10-inch sign slots to a 14 in the pylon sign. So we'll hear more about it from Mr. Engster, which is something that the building department gave to us.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I spoke with Michael earlier about it. It's a sign that we had approved in 1997, the present sign. And at that time, we anticipated having 10 tenants, and I presently have 12 spaces. I anticipate having the possibility, strong possibility, it's difficult to say for sure, of going to 14. So the application includes 14 slots for tenants versus the present signage, which is 10 slots. The slots themselves are 5 feet wide and approximately 8.5 inches. That's the present signage. The new signage is going to stay the same height, but the lettering will vary depending, for instance, the lettering for, let me just get the tenants' names on my new sign for like David's Nail and Spa, because there's more words than Poncho's. Poncho's lettering can be up to 6.5 inches versus David's has to come down to, I believe it's 5 inches in height. But essentially, the signage for the individual tenants is approximately the same. What's increased is the square footage of the overall sign. The 167.13 is the square footage that's noted on the design plan prepared by the company that designed it. And I believe that takes in the overall square footage of the entire sign. And I went back and got the application for our signage in 1967. Obviously, the zoning laws were different then, but there was a restriction then based on the calculations of, then they wanted to incorporate with the overall signage. We'd have signage over every tenant's space on the parapet wall. And that's so much square footage. So in the calculation then, it was a calculation based on the frontage of the building, the street frontage, and the building setbacks. And back then, we had 768 was the permitted zoning, and I honestly can't remember or fully understood. But we were told back then, 120 square feet is all you can have. And the new zoning ordinance, interestingly, says the same thing. When we applied for that signage, we were doing that separate and apart from Walmart, but my partner, who's now no longer with us, Mr. Richard Johnson, we thought it would be a good idea to call it Walmart Center, I think is what the name was. And so we applied similarly to the signage that we have now that says Brunswick Square for permission to have Walmart Center, and everybody went nuts because they thought we were somehow conspiring with Walmart to make sure Walmart had more signage. Apparently there had been quite a dogfight back then for Walmart to get the signage that was approved, which Richie and I had no clue on. So I took what I could get in 1997, and that's what our present sign is, with no name. So we've added that, and we've added the obligatory 911 number as well on the bottom. And so that adds on another foot on top. It's 15 feet on top, and the foot for Brunswick Square. And then below that is another foot for the 740 Hoosick Road. And in between is the space for the tenants, which is 8 by 10 feet versus what we presently have, which is 6 by 10 feet. So it's 80 square feet versus 60 square feet that we applied for back in 97. That's the fundamental difference, because we need more space for more tenants. When we built this in 95, 96, it was, I guess the tenant, the people that we consulted with felt that you had to have space that was 100 feet deep and we built one wing which is 100 feet deep and another wing which is 80 feet deep. And today, that's not what tenants want. They want much smaller space, 40, 60 feet deep. So we have, over the last 10, 15 years, have downsized several spaces. So that since 2010, I think we started, so that we can accommodate tenants that want more affordable space, is really what it boils down to. So we have this increase in tenant space, and I don't have the signage on the pylons. And the basic square footage increase from what we presently have, which was approved as part of our land development district back then, was 120 versus 160 square feet. That's our fundamental change for accommodating the tenants now and down the road. I think that answers most of the issues that I have in mind. Anyone have any other questions? Oh, I know. When I filled out the application, I was thinking sign and not lot. And so when I got to the area variance criterion, I said not applicable. And obviously, since this is an area variance of a sign, I think they are applicable. I just wasn't thinking that through. So I'm prepared to go through that list and answer those questions. But essentially, the increase is from 60, what did I have there? 60 to 80 square feet on each side for tenants. And I need to do that because I have more tenants than I used to.
You have 12 tenants now? 12 existing
I have
tenants?
10 tenants now.
Tenants.
And I have 2 spaces that we've created due to subdividing the other spaces. We had, for instance, we had 8,000 square feet when I had the dollar store.
Mhm.
And we've now divided that in half, and I have 4,000 tenants. And we did that back in 2010 with what was the Blockbuster video store. We divided that in half, and we put in Trusco and GameStop.
So there's 4 in the one wing, like down where Trusco is. There's 4 suites there.
There's 420 Bliss, Bacon, Family Footwear,
And
GameStop,
Oh,
Trusco Banks are 5.
Oh, this is, okay, so the bank is here. And this is King's.
So one of the elements that the zoning board, I'm sure you're aware, needs to consider is if you couldn't do what you proposed to do, what else could you do to meet your goals?
I have to have, I mean, I don't know of any tenants that are gonna say it's okay to not have a place on the pylon sign. I think that's standard. All tenants want to have a slot on that pylon sign. I have seen, in some cases where anchor tenants have larger space, but invariably all tenants want a space on there. So I can't do that without increasing the number of slots.
I have a question.
I may have missed this, but,
So if you go, so you're talking about decreasing the area, you're using the same sign, the same pylon.
No, I'm gonna replace the existing pylon sign with a new one, totally new. I mean, one of the things that's, it's not a problem, it's just an aesthetic issue, is that the existing lights are the fluorescent lighting, which isn't half as good from a quality perspective as the LED lighting that we put now on signs. So we're upgrading the quality of the sign, the appearance of the sign, so that overall, it'll be much more, I hesitate to use the word attractive, it's a sign. But if you talk to certain people that are in the process of manufacturing them, they think this is really gonna be much better looking.
So how is the sign gonna be lit?
Internally with LED lighting. As it is now, internally with fluorescent lighting. See where on the proposed design, you have each tenant's name. That will be, it'll be a dark blue background with white lettering. And what we're gonna do, what we're proposing to do, is to have them all the same lettering as opposed to what we now have, which is each tenant designed their own signage. And we found that that can be confusing to the vehicular traffic trying to read the thing. So this is easier to read and understand and quicker for driving customers to see where their tenant is that they want to go to. And that will all be, to get back to the first question, it'll be all backlit so that it's internal LED lighting, it'll be white light.
There's something about the zoning about that lady.
And you said the only difference in the size of the letters is the number of characters that are going to be on the sign itself,
Yeah.
by the tenant's name.
The actual square footage is gonna go up from 60 from 40, from 60 to 80 to increase the number of tenant slots that we have.
But will you ever have a tenant's name so long the letters get too small, or are you going to have a minimum, say, we're going to limit it to like 12 characters? So it can always be at least 5 inches tall.
You got 5 feet. And
The letters.
you're gonna have to squeeze it in there, and obviously, the longer it is, from a format point of view, that lettering has to come down. I think 5-inch letters is pretty much as low as they want to go.
That's interesting, it's a long time without the 911 number on there.
Yes, yeah, I've been reminded by Michael in his office that has to go up.
Yeah.
I don't know, no one ever raised the issue
Yeah, it's
back in
interesting. Uh-huh.
97.
Right, right.
Well, did they?
I mean, it was very interesting, they were really, they
Who's the expert?
didn't want me to have anything with Walmart on it.
We didn't want anything to have Walmart in Brunswick, so, yeah.
Now, will the sign be lit all the time, or will there be hours that
No,
it's?
it just comes on at the same time that the parking lot lights come on at night, and then goes off. So, I'm not exactly what time, but that's all on a timer.
Like dusk to dawn, and it'll be dusk to dawn?
I think it goes off before then, but yes, sometime during the night. I think as long as the parking lot lights are on, it's on.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's just, you can't have anything flashing or empty, anything moving.
So before we deem the application complete for the purpose of holding a public hearing, we would need that part of the application for the area variance, those 5 elements to be filled out.
Sure.
And that can be done by simply giving the information to the building department, and they would make sure that the zoning board members had that before we meet.
I'll be glad to do that.
All right, okay, thank you. And I guess in particular, perhaps 10 days before the next meeting, that would be August,
Oh, okay, absolutely.
9th. And that would be for the benefit of the public who will hear about the public hearing and will want, if they want to, they can come into the building department to review the application materials.
August 9th,
Right, by then.
and 10 days before and 6 p.m.
Right, so then 10 days after, we're meeting again on August 19th. At 6
19th.
Yes, on 6 PM. If you could kindly get that information, the supplemental information to the building department by the 9th.
I'll have it before then.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we can review it too.
Sorry.
That's quite right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Ister this time?
No.
Okay, all right, so we'll see you on August 19th at 6.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anything else? I thought you were going to say.
Just to clarify,
Yes,
so
sorry.
on the 19th, you'll review the additional information Paul submits. At that point, determine whether it's complete or not, and schedule a public hearing for September. Correct?
Okay, sure. All right,
Does that make sense?
okay. Thank you. Good clarification.
All set?
All set, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Any other notes of new business that you would like to discuss? Make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting in a second.
Second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
When I look at him, and